It's Wednesday, August 31st, 2024. This is Rolling Thunder, the podcast. I'm Chris Gaskin.
Rob LaChance.
And we do a comedy show called Rolling Thunder.
Yes, we do.
Which, God, when is our next one coming up? We'll be pitching this every week now, up until, let's see, September, October. What are we? October 19th and 20th? No, 18th and 19th. October 18th and 19th at Yuck Yuck Surrey.
Come out and see us.
Yeah. So, I think we should introduce ourselves first.
Okay.
Ryan, do you want to?
I'll start off. I'm Rob LaChance. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Start off, you jackass.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand what's going on.
I'm forcing him to do this podcast. That's what's going on.
I'm being held hostage in my own apartment, which is weird because technically it's possible because I can't open my own door. So
that's true. So we've been friends for 14 years, probably. 13,
too
14,
too long.
Well, that's one way to treat people, I guess.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah, give him a sip. That's all right. So we've been friends. Yeah, probably about 13, 14 years. I've been living here since 15. I would say 15 because I've been living here since 2008.
Yeah.
And we've been doing shows together probably since back half of 2008.
Yep.
Do
you remember the first time you met me?
I do not remember the first time I met you.
Good, because I don't either. Okay. So we don't have to share that story because I have no idea.
Clearly, we left an impression on each other.
Yes.
You were like, "Who's this kid?" I'm like, "Who's this guy in a wheelchair?"
Yeah. And why is he going on stage?
I can tell you my earliest memory of you was doing a show that you put on.
Really?
Yes, and it was. I feel like the show was in Delta at some bar. It was a horrific show. Like
sounds about right.
Half the people were just bombing off their ass.
Yep.
I mean, in a way that, like, I was upset that I was part of the show because I was not that good at that time. But you just wheeled up to me, and by the way, to all our first time viewers, listeners. I want everyone to know, I'm going to look directly at you in the camera. I want you all to know, all the comics in the scene, they do his voice behind his back.
True story.
I'm the only one who does it to his face because I respect the motherfucker. Okay?
That's true.
But so that's Ryan, true. You came up to me and you just go, Gaskin, let me tell you why I booked you for the show. You're like a little pit bull. Go up there, get this crowd back in this fucking thing.
Yep.
And I got up, and I mean, for as bad as I was at the time, I did well enough that I remember I got off stage and you went, "Oh, you did your job." and then I forget who was up after that, but it was like, I just remember, I couldn't tell you what bar it was. I couldn't tell you.
I don't even remember doing a show in Delta at all.
It could have been Surrey. I mean, Delta's part of Surrey, like some like that South Surrey area show.
There were, back in the day, there were some really sketchy places that we used to perform because they didn't advertise at all usually, so no one knew why people were going on stage talking into a microphone. They're like, "I'm just trying to eat my beef dip, motherfucker. Just let me eat my beef dip while you're talking to me right now." So
the type of show where we just hold a crowd hostage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, listen to these rape jokes, huh?
The good old early 2000s.
So yeah, you started, like, you've been doing this a long time now.
Yeah, August 1998 was my first show. and that makes me feel
Yeah.
really old saying that out loud. It was at the original Yuck Yucks at Plaza of Nations, or the one that I knew being the first one, but I think there was a club before that even. But I remember the first show I did, um, I couldn't see the light. And for those people listening to the podcast that don't know what that means, is we usually get a light to tell us how much time we have left, and then to tell us when we get off stage. So I couldn't see the light because,
It'd be to
uh,
tell him to like wrap up this story. Go ahead.
yeah,
You couldn't see
yeah,
the
like
light.
he what you guys don't know is Chris is giving me a light right now.
I'm not. We
Yeah.
got this on video. You.
Okay. Anyway, um, I just remember that I ran the light so long that they ended up just turning the microphone off, and then that's how I knew to stop talking. Yeah, it was. I did 22 minutes, and I was supposed to do 7. So,
At least you got the hint.
yeah.
I've seen guys do like that thing where they're like, "Oh, the mic. There's something wrong with the mic," and it's like, "No, get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
You've been performing way too long."
And it was super funny too because I remember one thing about that show is half the audience couldn't see me because I couldn't get on stage, so I was parked up front. So the only people that could see me were in the front row, and everybody else just heard a voice throughout the club. And when I was making my first wheelchair jokes, I wasn't very good at like bringing people into my world. I would just start making fun of myself. And then, even back then, people got super social justice warrior on me and were really pissed off. And then they realized that the voice they heard was coming from someone in a wheelchair. So,
Isn't
yeah.
that like the weirdest thing that like? Because I've had people say that about me. Like I'm a tiny man. Like I'm five
Mm.
two, and I talk about that on stage because it's kind of like an elephant. Oddly, ironically, it's an elephant. It's an ant in the room. Is what it
Yes,
is.
it
It's not
is.
an elephant in the room, but it's like
Yeah.
And I still, even for my age, like I still look very young and childlike.
It's true.
You didn't need to jump on that fast.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm just being honest. I
good.
go shopping with you when we're on the road, and you have to shop at the kids section. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Shut up. God damn it.
Nothing to say
Why'd I
about
agree to
that
do a podcast with you?
because
Yeah.
you wanted to hold me hostage in my own apartment.
I did that by watching wrestling with you.
That's
So,
true.
uh, I typically it's like I have to talk about being short, and I have had the odd person be like, "Why do you make fun of yourself like that? Like, why aren't
Yeah.
you happy with who you are?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am, but like,
Yeah.
let's do you not understand the transaction that we're having on stage?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's you talking about
yeah,
yourself.
it's we're playing a game here."
Yeah. Yeah. I get that too. Like, people think I'm speaking for people with all disabilities, and I'm like, I'm not. I don't, like, there are thousands, if not millions, of different types of disabilities out there. I don't know everything about everything. When it comes to that, I just know my own experiences. So when I'm on stage talking about it, it's not coming from me generalizing a whole segment of the population. It's me talking about myself. And it blows my mind when people get offended for the sake of being offended. Like, why the fuck are you at a comedy show? Like, go take a cooking class or learn how to crochet or something.
I will say, as a cisgendered straight white male, I generalize everyone. It's
You do.
it's the
But you're
fastest way
also
to a joke.
but you're also a prick, so that makes sense. Yeah.
uh,
You're just
to
being
the
you're just being who you are, Chris. That's all you're doing.
oh man, I I'm super glad that we actually get to do the show. I'm glad that the our trial run went as far as a show goes
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Um and that we get to do it adding actual clubs, so that'll be
That would
fun.
be awesome.
It's I still am dreading the tail end of the show because it is
should we explain to the listeners what the idea of the show is?
Well, okay, so the idea of roll our stage show, which is also called Rolling Thunder, is we both do headlining sets, and then at the end of the show, we're on stage together, and we're just I would say we're roasting each other, but it's Ryan roasting me, and I try to get a wording edgewise, and then anytime I do, people are going, "You can't say that to him." You can't, or it'll be the time that I will tell a joke that I've already said to Ryan that he laughs at, and then he no sells on
Yeah.
stage because he's an asshole,
Yeah.
and he knows it's gonna bury me, and then he just
Yeah.
goes, Why would you say that?"
Yeah.
And then the
I
crowd's
know.
like, "Yeah, you dick." And I'm like, "Because we found it funny on the way here.
Yep. It's true.
You
And
did that to me on our first show."
I did. And it felt great. I have to admit. I'm just proof that not everyone in a wheelchair is nice.
Yep.
Some of us are assholes. So, but I really enjoy doing that type of show with you,
Yeah.
Chris. Especially we've known each other for so long. It's fun to just be ourselves with each other,
I
and
I will say you're genuinely like one of my best friends in comedy. Or one of my best friends, period. I shouldn't just say in comedy. Like that's
I
I
appreciate
feel
that.
like giving it that is
I feel the
yeah.
same way about you.
Yeah.
Although, whenever we're on the road, you never want to tell me when we have a late checkout.
But that was not
And
my fault. No, no, no.
then,
I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm gonna set the record straight on this.
okay.
Okay. That was Jesse's fault. And
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say the last name. I'm not gonna completely
He's only saying that because he can't pronounce his last
that's
name.
also
I
true. That's also
understand.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have to host those shows. That was
Mm-mm. That would have been painful.
that so I'm gonna tell this. How about you tell a story from your perspective first? Because your perspective will it'll make sense as to why you were upset about it,
Okay.
and you were right to be upset about it.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna give you my perspective, not mine and Jesse's perspective, but my perspective on it, and
Okay.
I'll tell you where I fucked up.
Okay.
Okay,
So basically, we were on the road, uh, in the interior of BC, and
we're in Kamloops.
yeah,
We're fucking around.
we're in Kamloops, and we were what I thought we were doing is checking in on the hotel and going to Penticton to do our next show, and so we, by we I mean myself and my caregiver, got up at 8:30 in the morning. My caregiver uh, looked after himself, and then he got me out of bed. And to get me out of bed, it takes a good 15 to 20 minutes to do everything we need to do before I can be set off in public. So don't scare able-bodied
but
people.
before you can be brave,
Yes, before I can be brave
before you can be brave,
and leaving
leave the
it.
house. You're so
Yeah,
brave,
that's why
Ryan.
we're
You're
doing the
so
podcast inside my house right now because I'm not that brave.
you fucking
Uh,
coward.
yes, I know. And so we were expecting the normal checkout, so we had all my equipment packed up. We're waiting in the lobby.
I
I
still feel bad about this.
I called Jesse, no answer. I called Chris, no answer. I text both of them, no answer. I called Chris again, and he's like, "Oh shit, dude, we got a late checkout. We used an excuse." To being disabled and taking a long time to get up in the morning to get a late checkout, and I was like, motherfucker, it's normal for people to get a late checkout for any reason. All you have to do is ask.
Oh, see, I
Eh,
knew that. I didn't get the late checkout.
Okay,
Okay. This is where I want to back up because
okay,
so there's a few rookie mistakes that were made here, and
mm-hmm,
I'll tell you mine because the guy that we were working with, and I don't want to go too into his history or whatever. I don't think that's fair to him. Um, but we'll just leave it at like he's in recovery. Okay,
yep,
he spent time in the system. So like I was telling him like, hey, do you think because we're not in a rush to get to Penticton, and like we want to get there early enough, but not too early, like
yep,
because I know we're going to be hanging out with a friend, right? I go, so did you ask them if we could get a late checkout? And Jesse was like, You can do that?" And I was like, "Oh, you'd be surprised what you can do in a hotel that you can't do in prison." Like, that's
It's true. They
you
don't give you any
they don't
late
no,
checkouts in prison.
there's no late checkout in prison.
No.
But in the hotel, you're like, "Could I know it's, like, 10 or 11. Could we do 12:30? Like, is that cool?" And 9 times out of 10, it's like, absolutely. You can
Yes.
even probably extend it a little bit later if you're like, we'll keep the room tidy enough that you just have to give it a once over. Uh, and and he was like, "No." And by the way, this is the night before. And we had already that day, we went to the mall and I paid for your Carades swim shorts.
I paid you
Yeah,
back.
that's beside the point. Don't hold it. I know you paid me back.
Okay.
It equaled out at the end.
I just
But
don't want
you
people
didn't
listening.
you're like, "I forgot my wallet, pay for it."
That's true.
You, you were not polite about it.
I was not. I'm sorry.
Ah, don't be. Don't be.
Being in a
So
wheelchair, sometimes I can be entitled. I understand that.
dude, goddamn right you can. It's great. So I that was like part of it because I made the rookie mistake of not bringing swim trunks because
Yeah.
if there's like a pool or a hot tub, I want to do that if I'm there.
Yep.
So literally your carry didn't come with it. It was like you, Jesse, myself, and I know you were like, I want to get him some swim trunks as well because I think that'd be a nice thing. He never got to use the fucking
Yeah.
hot tub.
I don't
I
even know if he owns them. They might still be
oh
here. I don't even know.
so like I literally got in a quick hot tub before that show that night. Like I was like, I'm going. I'm not like I bought these. Let's break them in right now.
Yeah.
And Jesse's like, I can't do it right now. But I told him when we got back after the show in Kamloops, like I was asking him, did you get a late checkup? So because Jesse is in recovery, whatever form it's at now, but because he's in recovery, like he gets up early, you know, does a meeting or
Hmm.
whatever, right?
He has his routine. Yeah.
So he was up way earlier than me. So like
Yeah.
I wake up and he's already like, I already had a coffee, I already had a cigarette, you know. He goes, by the way, I got us a late checkout. I was like, nice, cool. I neglected to ask, did you inform Ryan?
And they did
Because
not.
he did not. And
No.
by the way, had he said no, I would have texted you immediately. Late checkout, we leave at 12:30. That's what
Okay.
I would have done. I made the rookie mistake. I got so excited about now we have time that I can relax in the pool.
Yeah.
I assumed he told you.
Okay.
And by the way, he did say we're with the guys in the next room. He's got cerebral palsy. He fully used that. And you're right. You don't have to use that.
No. No.
So my ringtone was not on. We were talking about life, philosophical ideas, comedy.
Yeah.
And I just had this thought where I go like, hey, I should check on Ryan. I should see what they're doing because we got the late checkout. It's not like Ryan's swimming.
By the way, for the people listening, I can swim. It's just dangerous. I more float like a dead body. I'll be dead body 3 in an episode of CSI or something like that. Anyway, continue.
very buoyant.
Yes.
Nice.
I just bob.
So I get up out of the hot tub and I walk. And by the way, you hadn't called me 3 minutes before that.
Okay.
And I see that you had just called me. And I look up to Jesse and I go, hey, by chance, did you tell Ryan that we got a late checkup? And he just goes, no. And I'm like, oh, dude. So I call you and and you answer. And literally the first words out of your mouth were, where the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And I go, hey, are you in your room? And you, no, we're in the foyer. Been here for half an hour.
Yep.
goes, "Oh no, we got a late checkout." "Well, where are you?" Like, we're in the hot tub, man. Give us a
Mhm.
half hour. You were, dude, you were so hot at us the entire drive to Penticton.
Yes.
On stage. I've got the video footage of it. The
Yes.
funniest part, and I know you've got a copy of the footage, is there's a moment where Scotty Dumas was in town for a family thing, and he just happened to come by and do a spot, and he's like standing next to, like, we're kind of in the back of the room, and as you're explaining, like, these motherfuckers, they're in the hot tub. And it's comedy. So you're like, we've been sitting in the foyer 4 hours. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't 4 hours,
No, it was not.
but for the sake of the joke, absolutely.
Yeah, for the
But
sake of the
but like
joke, yeah.
it was genuine anger. It was
Yes.
not. It was like
Yes.
these fuck, and I know that because your arms started doing this,
Yes. Yes.
and Scotty leans over and he goes, "Is that true?" And I go, "Yeah, man." And then you can hear him howling laughing in the background,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's got a very distinctive laugh.
Yes, he
So
does.
I will say, in my defense,
Okay.
uh had I been the one who asked for this, like the late checkout,
You would
I
have
would
let
have
me know.
informed you immediately.
I understand that
Okay?
now.
Um
I just felt bad for Michael because we went out of our way
no, absolutely.
to
Dude, I
to
feel
buy.
bad about it.
Yeah.
I feel it's not like I'm like, that's we did a good thing. Like,
No, I understand. I understand.
no, last thing I wanted you was to sit there for an hour waiting for us, which you had to do because
Hmm. Although I was entertained by that British family and the
oh,
little girl. Mommy, mommy, can we go for brekkie, mommy? It was so funny.
mommy.
Mm. And now I will
Uh,
constantly text
oh,
you,
you do.
mommy, mommy. Too
I got
funny.
where's the I got a text from you that was like one word and I knew what it was, but the word was completely wrong.
That
And
sounds
and
about
then
my
I watched
life.
you redo it.
Yes, that sounds about my life.
It's, dude, you found ways to like make do,
Yeah,
like you have to. That's
yeah.
it's.
Especially in comedy, because it makes me realize how many venues say they're accessible, but then when I show up, they're like, "Oh shit, we're not that
Yeah.
accessible. We just have a boom mic stand," and I'm like, "That doesn't make things accessible,"
Yeah.
but it does because we're using one for the podcast right now, and
Well,
I don't have to hold the mic.
we're gonna have to get you a headset. I've been looking
Yeah,
those up.
I, I get to use one for the Nanaimo Fringe Festival,
Nice.
so I'm pretty stoked about that. And for the people that live on the island and you want to come to our show, we're doing a show August 9th. And then on the 13th to the 16th, we have a show. And all the shows are at the Port Theater in Nanaimo. So come check it out. It's me and Randy Andy.
You and another comic, Randy Andy. He's very funny.
Yeah, she's a musical
Yeah.
comedian. And I'm not musical whatsoever. I
I would
sound,
love to see you doing karaoke.
no. I think dogs would start to howl and cats would cry and someone would shoot themselves.
That'd be me.
Yeah.
I,
N-
I just don't like karaoke to begin with. My lady likes karaoke, and I can't do it.
No, I can't do it either. It doesn't nothing about that makes me happy. Instead I go and tell wheelchair dick jokes to random
Yeah,
strangers in the dark.
same. I also tell wheelchair dick jokes.
Yeah, your wheelchair dick joke material is some of the best you got, so
Well, it's you live your experience and you tell your truth
mhm.
up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah,
Yeah, I have a question for you,
yeah.
Chris. My question is this: a lot of comics get into comedy for their own reasons, and I was just curious, like, why did you start to do stand up? What was the driving factor?
Poor parenting,
Mm,
probably. Not that like I I'm a child of a broken home. for sure. You know, my parents got divorced when I was probably 6 or 7,
Okay.
um, or 8. I don't know. All those years blend together. And my mom, out of necessity, ended up with like a job where she was working afternoons. So realistically, I saw a parent for an hour a day.
Wow.
And then the rest of it was teachers and then very like shitty like
Babysitters?
babies that like do a lot of like childhood trauma because of that.
Mm.
That like shit that I've
Yeah.
like been not seeing anyone professionally for, but figuring out how to work through that.
H- Hence going on stage and complaining about the world.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's odd because I will talk about things on stage. I get critical of things on stage where some people will look at what I'm doing and think that I'm like negative towards some or like I'm against some sort of movement
Mm.
or whatever. Like my act is borderline politically ambiguous
Yeah.
because I it seems like I will take a certain side on a stance, but it's like the reality is I'm very pro whatever the stance is, but I'm critical of certain aspects of it. And
Yeah.
that's what I
Because no one viewpoint is completely
no, of
correct.
course not. It's the old saying. It's like there's this person's story, there's this person's story, and then there's the truth. Like there's three
Yeah.
sides to every story. And the truth is
Yeah.
usually somewhere right in the middle where you can like find the actual facts in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I I think it was something that like as a kid, I remember watching a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyways? Not quite understanding it as a child, like not until I was a teenager. And then around the time that I was a teenager, I was watching a lot of Just for Laughs, and more specifically, there was a channel at the time called Bravo, which I didn't find out until like a year later. Would show some of like the best like softcore porn.
Good old
Yeah.
softcore porn.
Uh I literally remember the first one that I ever saw,
Mm.
and it was literally a British comedy called The Ups and Downs of a Handyman.
I remember seeing that myself on the same
Yeah.
channel.
And at that
Yeah.
point there were two channels that were doing it. It was like Bravo and Showcase
Yeah.
were kind of doing it. But Bravo also a bit before that was showing the George Carlin stand-up specials.
Okay.
And I would watch those every weekend. I'd watch a new George Carlin special leading up.
Awesome.
And it went all the way from like his first HBO special all the way until it would have been like early 2000s. So like, I saw like You Are All Diseased. I saw Jamming in New York. Like I got to see his
Mm.
fucking the fact that he did baseball and football on like two different specials, and like you see how it evolves on from the
Yeah.
one special to the next. Like, I got to see like the seven dirty words on television. And I remember like watching that and being more so enthralled about his control of the situation. And
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that's what it is for me
Mm.
is it gives me like a level of control of a situation.
That's interesting.
Um like I was also always the smallest person. I was very rarely bullied because I would befriend the biggest guy. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm just small. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I get it. I have just similar reasons and similar kind of
yeah.
path to it as well, where humor was my defense mechanism.
Yes.
So if any kids or whatever started picking on me, I would just make jokes and make them laugh, and then they'd realize that I was funny, and they'd stop picking on me and actually want to be my friend, which I didn't always
And
know to
that's
make
why we're
friends.
here.
Yeah, yeah, Yeah.
Like the way that I look at it is I mean, I wouldn't even say my sense of humor was a defensive mechanism. It was I was on the offense.
Mm.
Like I was like I can make the joke about me faster and then I'm going to make the joke about you right after that to
Yeah.
like I'm letting you know like you're not safe around me if you
Yeah.
want to play this game. I can
Yeah.
hang with this game in a way that you're not going to win. So
Yeah.
it's very much like it's almost like a form of control in my life.
Okay.
Um
I can understand that and appreciate it because it was like that for me
yeah,
too.
that like I get to make the jokes about me and I get to control it's this
Yeah.
weird thing. I had a comic refer to me once as like an alpha male and I was like, "Oh no, 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 no." Like,
That's
no, not even close, man. But I mean, if I really think about it, I'm not that far off from what that would be, like the way my demeanor is and that. But
mm,
I'm also because I'm so introverted, like I rarely get that opportunity,
yeah.
and nor do I even want it. Which
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah,
Do you I know for myself this is true. That's why I'm gonna ask you this follow-up question. But I find myself personally like I people always ask me how much of myself is my stage persona or how much of what I do is me and how much of it is performance. And like most comics would tell you the root of their jokes come from their own experiences, so it's parts of who you are, but at the same time I'm not bad person I am on stage in my real life. So I find like it when I hit the
you're
stage.
very turned up on stage.
Yeah.
Like you literally, and I'm not going to burn any of your jokes on the podcast or anything, but your opening line is always like, "What's up, fuckers?" So
Yeah.
like you try and set the tone. Is oddly enough, like I saw you do that enough that I changed my opening line to have the word fuck in it, which I'm not thrilled about at this moment, but I
Mm.
just needed something quick and it's literally about me. Like I'm not calling them fuckers or I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
even
no.
trying to like step on
I'm
what you
not.
do. Like it's literally my opening line is like I'm fucking short. So
Yeah.
like to kind of get across
We're
there's
gonna talk about this.
we're going to talk about this. There's clearly a little bit of frustration with it, but
Yeah.
it's not like I'm very comfortable in my skin
Mm.
and who I am.
Yeah. Well, for me, the reason I started the "What's Up, Fuckers" is I was talking to a fellow
If
comedian.
someone was like, "You need to learn how to pronounce your W's and F's."
Yeah, yeah. I used to speak with a cork in my mouth
The-
for better enunciation. Um,
you
no,
you do well enough now that when I sent you those clips, like I ran it through DaVinci Resolve, and the AI got the transcript pretty damn good. So
Ah, my mom will be so happy about that. All the years she sent me to a speech
yeah,
pathologist finally paid off. But I just want to go back to the reason I started with the "Hey fuckers,
yes,
what's going on?" Is to break the ice, but it was also because I find there are three types of reactions I get when I wheel on stage before I say anything. There's the people that are like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun." There's the people that are like, "I'm not gonna pay attention to this
hmm
guy. Like, what's? I have nothing to relate to him." And then the third is the one like, "What the fuck's going on?"
yeah.
You know, like they just don't understand.
I I
So,
have a question for you then. In that same vein, do you? I'm sure you're going to remember this because the way human memory works is like,
mm,
we our minds will process on something negative way more than a positive.
yeah.
What is the worst intro you've ever gotten? I want to
Oh,
hear yours first. I'm going to tell you mine after.
honestly, it was a show in Surrey, British Columbia,
Okay.
and it was at this venue called Olympia Pizza, and they had hired a like a local radio DJ to be the host.
Okay.
It was for it's like one of those fundraising events
Sure,
where he
sure.
and that fundraiser was sponsored by the radio station, so they had one of their DJs come down and be the host, and he said, "Coming to the stage is Ryan." Didn't even say my last name. He's in a wheelchair, and then
Fuck.
he just looked off stage.
Here's Ryan using a wheelchair.
And that's all he
Yeah.
said, and I was like, okay, all right. So that was probably the worst one. I mean, I
Yeah.
bet uncomfortable ones, but that definitely sticks in my mind as the worst.
I I'm gonna giving honorable mention to the first time I ever got to open for someone like big on like a big show.
Yeah.
The the promoter who booked me gave gave like my introduction
Okay.
and completely fucked up my name. Like
Awesome.
what, not even say, first name, last name, both wrong. Like
That's
and I
funny.
remember walking to the stage like that that guy booked me. Like he booked me. He knows
Yeah,
my
it's
name. What the fuck happened there? Um that's a story for another podcast. We got to wrap this one up shortly. The worst intro I've ever had, and I'm going to say the name. I'm not even going to bleep it out. Was by Greg Kettner. Um, Greg
oh, this
Kettner.
is already getting good.
Greg Kettner was a. I still think he does some comedy here and there. I think he lives down in the States now. Last I
Okay.
heard. Um, dude would be shit faced at half the shows. Um,
Yep.
would if someone were to ask me what I think of his act, I'd probably say he's a nice enough guy. That's that's how I describe it. He's
Yeah,
a nice enough guy.
I never really had any issues with him.
Uh, but like him and another comic would like constantly post bullshit on my Facebook and like fuck with me.
Mm,
Which I just kind of like whatever. I'm just saying this to kind of set the stage.
hmm.
So I've never been like a fan of his personally or professionally. And it was at Kino one time, and I was working on a certain set, and he brings me up as this guy has had 2 open heart surgeries. Please welcome Chris Gaskin.
Oh shit.
And literally, when I got on the stage, uh you could hear the crowd like "Aw," and I was like I couldn't, not only could I not get them back, I then had to do jokes about my heart
Mm,
problems, which was not what I wanted to do.
yeah. What you were
I wanted
working
to do
on.
what I was working on, and
Yeah.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
I literally I was like, if I ever see you bring anyone up like that again, I will break your nose. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like I always get asked by like comics, what should I say? What should I say? Which I think is nice in a way where it's like I think that question should be, do you have anything to promote? Like
Yeah.
do you have anything you're trying to push to the
Mm,
audience? Because like you could tell the audience like this, he's worked with Just for Laughs. I've worked with Just for Laughs.
yeah.
He's he's been on TV. I've been on TV. He's
Me
been
too.
like, you can say all of that. They don't give a shit.
No.
They don't know who you are, especially here in Canada.
But at the same time, we've earned those credits, so they should be
But
part of
but
our
again, it's
introduction.
a we still have to establish who we are. We still, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it's like I've always told people, your next comic coming to the stage, keep it as simple as that. Let's move on. Let's do the show.
Yeah.
And I'd rather a blank slate like that than like
Yeah.
don't hype me up.
Yeah.
Like, because if you hype me up, I also make the mistake of trying to riff sometimes too, which I'm not that riffing
You're not me.
No, I'm definitely not
Ah,
you. Which is why our acts complement each other
it's true.
so much.
That's why people should come out and check out our
Yeah.
show, Rolling Thunder, at the casino
Yeah.
in a couple weeks.
What do you mean? Couple weeks, couple months, dude.
Oh, a couple
You,
months.
you're way
I have
off.
no sense of
No,
time. How long have I
mid
been
mid
locked in this
October,
apartment?
mid October.
Okay, mid October.
We
There you
we'll
go.
have plenty of these to pitch it, and then the I think the plans to we're going to be taking the show on the road in the
Yep.
spring. I'd like to be able to do it sooner, but I'm kind of in like a flux moment right now, and it's a little late to be like
Yeah.
planning a run like that. But we're going to be doing the spring, probably
Yeah.
bunch of towns here in BC, probably
Mm-hmm.
Alberta, so
And maybe even
maybe even
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Yeah, which I'm excited about.
Me too.
Yeah, now we just have to figure out how to advertise and
Yep. We'll figure it out.
yeah. All right.
I'm just gonna get a whole bunch of late checkouts and not tell you that I have a late checkout.
That should be the title of the first episode.
Yes, it should be the late checkout.
I'm gonna get a bunch of late checkouts and not tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been a pleasure,
Yeah.
people.
Let's wrap this one up.
Okay.
Uh, so what do you have coming up? You got the Fringe
I got the
that
fringe
you're doing. Let's when are your Fringe dates?
August 9th, 13th through to the 16th at the Port Theater in Nanaimo. Tickets are on sale now. You can get them on all my social media or on my website, which is ryanlachance.com.
All right. I'm in Vancouver doing shows for the next while. I'm part of the South Rock Comedy Festival. Uh
Which I happen to be the program coordinator for.
well
So,
don't ruin me trying to push that. Now it sounds like you booked me because
uh,
we're friends, dick. I am funny. I want you to know that.
you are funny.
Um
It's because we're friends. I only gave you 10 minutes. That's why.
you really are an asshole.
Yeah, I
And
am.
then yeah, the Yuck Yucks where's that date again? Hold on. I gotta pull it up. I had it up. October 18th, 19th, Yuck Yucks Surrey. For tickets, go to yuckyucks.com. I will also try to figure out how to get the links on ryanlachance.com, and I got to get my website back up. But that's it. That's the first episode. I think next one will be talking a lot about news stories that happened weeks back. So that'll be fun.
Yes, it will be.
Alrighty.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye.